let's take a little trip down the Pitt River. The put-in for this project was built by PG&E. It does require about a 2-mile paddle down to get to the Whitewater. Offers you a little bit of a warm-up. At the end of the flat water, there are a couple of narrow, different parts of the braided channel that you can take that gets you to the first couple of rapids. So the first rapid of import you come up to is called the Small Ledge. It's kind of a river-wide ledge. You can really hit it pretty much anywhere, but there's a little flake in the middle you can hit that will make sure you clear over the hole. And this really starts the main part of the Whitewater section. So the next ride you come up to is Typewriter. Best to catch the little eddy at the top. And then the good line actually requires a ferry out across the river left. And what I find here is if you actually put your bow just barely up into the bushes on the other side with a little bit of left boat angle, and that scoots you right by. If you're short of that, you can end up in the hole, and that's not so fun. Coming in here, this is actually taking a little bit more bush there than you need, but it actually works out. But you can see if you don't have a little bit of left boat angle, it will reject you back to the right pretty hard. Coming to the next section, there's a small part of the braided channel you can take, a small chute, and then as you come around the corner here, it gets pretty busy, and there's a number of ledges that you have to navigate that are pretty good hydraulics in there, a couple of big waves, and you generally run at this over here on the far right, and then you make your way back over to the left. But it's, fun Class 3 rapid right here. Immediately below this, you come out to kind of a big pool, which is an interesting feature. There's an eddy you can catch over here on the left, and that's a great place to get out and scout the next rapid, which is called Merry-Go-Round. This gives you a good view. It's an interesting rapid that basically does a 180-degree turn around this large bedrock outcropping here. So the main features on this rapid is you have a hole kind of dead center in the rapid, and then this large rock that's on the right. And really what you need to do is thread the needle between those two river features. I personally find going to catching the eddy at the top of the rapid and then making a nice little pivot turn sets you up to run between those two. Next, there's kind of a busy Class 3 rapid, a bunch of different options here. You can run down the left, kind of a big splashy thing. There's a ramp over on the right that provides an interesting line. It's a little lighter on the hydraulic side, but both are good. Then begins a long Class 3 section that has a number of just interesting features in it, nothing too big. But at the bottom of this is a rapid called Unhappy Ending. Now it's called that because it's kind of mellow Class 3, and at the bottom you have to make a really strong move back to the right to avoid the rock jumble pile that's on the left. You can tell that you're getting close to the unhappy ending when you see a large black rock pretty much dead center in the river channel. If you want, you can eddy out behind that rock. There's also a little bit of slow water above it. You can look at it. Now it does require that you enter this rapid on the left, make your way down, and then you look and you'll see some large boulders that are in the channel. There's some hydraulics to navigate. But then at the last moment where it seems like you're about to go over the rock jumble pile, you go and need to make a nice strong move back to the right. Now the water there actually tends to send you over that way, so even though it may look like you're not going to make it, just commit to that move and you'll get over to the right. There you can see how Lance makes the move from left to right and was able to make it past the rocks on that side even without a huge amount of effort to get over there. Here's the beautiful part of the canyon, lengthy Class 3 rapids, fun hydraulics. The scenery in here is really quite beautiful and really unique to the Pitt River Canyon. I would say that if you're comfortable running Meat Grinder on the South Fork of the American, you'd be very comfortable in this section of the river. One thing to note is like on this rock right here, many of the eddies have unhelpful rocks below the main rock forming the eddy. So I find as a general rule of thumb on this river, don't cut eddies too tight to the top because there's usually something that you'll hit there. One of the main features that makes the Pitt 1 run unique is a large waterfall known as Pitfalls. There are 3 options to run this falls. On the far right, there's a big slide that you can run that is pretty much Class 3. You'll notice as you go off it, generally heading with your bow pointed slightly to the left is a good idea. You don't want to go off too far right, and one thing that you need to be careful of is all the water at the lip does push from left to right. If you're too far to the left, you can actually have a much harder landing than if you go a little bit further to the right. It's always nice too to have somebody down here to help catch you. You need to get out of your boat immediately after running the drop, because the next part of this side of the rapid is not generally run. Has some very sharp rocks, and it's best to portage around it. So boat catchers down here are a real help. If you decide you want to portage here, there's a nice portage route on the far right below the slide. So the far left side of Pitfalls actually offers a class 4 option that is also known as the fish ladder. The main drop of Pitfalls is probably about 30 to 35 feet. But one thing to note here is you enter a small chute at the top, and before you get to the lip where it goes vertical, you're probably already doing 10 miles an hour before you even get to that lip. So you get moving down through that slot pretty good. And down below Pitfalls, we get to a long class 3 rapid. Generally run this kind of center left. And then you get to the bottom, and there's a large rock on the left-hand side. I usually find it's a good idea to eddy out below that before running what's known as pit bowl, kind of a river-wide ledge. You could probably run it anywhere. I find the fun move is to make a left to right move and then boof behind the rock in the middle. Here we are in the eddy on the left, getting ready to do the boof move. And again, the boof move is extra points. It's not completely required. You can just run right off the ledge if you like, but this gives you some added style points. A little bit below pit bowl, there's another long class 3 rapid. Run it pretty much anywhere, but it's also particularly good if you run it over on the right. I generally find on this river that boofing rocks is not a great idea. The rocks are volcanic. They tend to be pretty sharp. Your boat will be much happier if you're not going for lots of boofs on every single rock that you go by. Then coming down here, you get to a bit of an eddy. This is above the rapid called Eggbeater. I personally find this to be one of the more challenging and significant rapids on the run. And it's best to enter it over on the left. There is a mid-rapid eddy that you can catch if you want to see the bottom part of the drop. And as you get down there, you catch that eddy, you can get a good view downstream. The exit is down on the left. And down at the bottom of the rapid, you'll see a large rock feature with water going over it. That is the Eggbeater. And you need to thread the needle between that and several other holes just to the right of the Eggbeater rock. It's a bit intimidating as you roll up to it, but as you get down to the end, it typically works out okay as long as you get just to the right of that rock. The next rapid, Wave Rapid, has a long lead in and then generally run over on the left. If you can catch the eddy in the middle of this, there's actually a great surf wave that you can catch on the fly, or you can try to do the eddy out and then catch the wave. It's in the middle of a bit of a big hydraulic, but it's a fun move if you could make it. There are a couple of shallower rapids towards the bottom of this run, just above the campground. You just have to pick your way through them. They can be a bit of a challenge in a raft. The takeout for this run is great. It's right at the campground. You pull up to your campsite. It's a great place to camp when you're up here doing this run. I'd like to thank the folks at AW that helped negotiate these releases, Kevin Lewis in particular, and the AW staff that in the 90s spent quite a bit of time making this run a reality.